Right. Go ahead. Well, I'm Rob Foffman. We're Design Democracy. We have Terry over here. We have Ben, David. And we're going to have our user talk first.
Well, we came together as a group because we're all passionate about planning. And through our experience, we determined that there are three typical users for the data that needs to be disseminated to us. We have our community groups and civic organizations. We have Brian as our example as an individual user. And we have the zoning boards in the city of Pittsburgh. Typical example, Brian has moved back to Pittsburgh. He loves the city. He's walking around his neighborhood, he's seeing building permits, he's seeing scaffolding, he's seeing yellow tape. He doesn't know how to find out what's going on, but he wants to be an engaged citizen and participate in his community.
Brian's sitting in the coffee shop and he sees a postcard for Plain Pittsburgh. So he's like, well, this sounds like an interesting app, something that I care about and I'm interested in involved in. So he downloads it on his phone, opens up the app, and selects his neighborhood out of Lawrenceville. And I want to see what proposed projects are going on there. When I click on projects, I'm notified that these are projects that are coming up before the planning or the zoning commission, and that they come up every 2 weeks. But I can get notified for new things that they get posted, so I'll do that. That sounds great. And I'm going to click around on a few of these different items that are on here. Looks like 222 Finance Street is getting done. And I know a friend of mine actually lives really close to that, so I'm going to go ahead and post that to his Facebook wall so he knows that this is coming up. And I might spend another minute kind of poking around looking at the 3D view so I can get a sense of what's like for that plan as well. Now I saw another tab in here for community groups. And I'd love to be more involved, but I don't know a lot about them. It looks like there's three that are in Lawrenceville. And Lawrenceville United actually has some meetings, so I'll take a look at that. I can see the leaders. I don't know any of them, but there's a meeting that I can answer for, so I'll go ahead and do that.
Oh, one more user just signed up.
As I'm sipping my coffee, I poke around a little bit more in the app and I see this tab for Dig Deep. So I'm going to click on that and I see some documents related to Lawrenceville. So there's a strategic plan, a Lawrenceville newsletter, an Arsenal blog. So I click through to the strategic plan and I can view actually a PDF of it. This is a really beautiful document that the neighborhood's put together. We have an example right here. It gives you a sense of kind of what the plan is for that neighborhood. I might also want to zoom out and see what's going on in the rest of the city. So maybe I started off looking at Polish Show. And this is actual data that we've loaded in for the zoning board agendas for the next 2 weeks. So here's a site that's being rented, that's coming before the zoning commission. But I can zoom out and see everything that's happening in Pittsburgh. And click and see and check out the answers. So we talked about the problem, we talked about the tool, and Rob's going to talk about the process.
So we're kind of, Terry and I are kind of like a client. We're part of the process. We did background understanding, we did affinity grouping, a lot of these things as architects, we see common language. Low fidelity prototyping, we put out to Trader Joe's and did these little low fidelity prototypes and changed our design process. We did user testing, and then we did high fidelity prototyping, and then the coded application. So a lot of process there, and we think that was a very important part of the success of our plan. It's scalable. This is something that I did as an architect, knowing not what I was doing at all, but the idea is you can see zoning as one component of a larger scalable system, including what we hope is a physical virtual hearing room that's tied to a new hearing room for the city.
So through our process, we started off with questions. We came up with some feature ideas, and then we really tried to narrow that down as we've talked to people. What kind of things do you like? What kind of things don't you like? We had a voting thing built into the app where you could vote and see information on that. And we actually got a lot of negative feedback. Board members said this isn't data that I want. People felt like it was probably junk data. But really, what I wanted to do is contact people that I care about and share it on social media.
I think something to consider too is the best assets that we think this provides are transparency. It builds consensus, and this could reduce effort, cost, and grief for the city by having better informed users and customers and residents interacting with their offices.
That's what our planning board member really liked about it. make it
Okay,
easier.
It's a great point to end on.
Commission, you're at the historic review commission.
And he has a more educated testifier.
That's a great point to end on. I think you're
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. All right. Okay.